What's up, y'all? Welcome back to 3 Star Draw. I'm down south 77, aka 3 Star Draw, and this here is an adult collector channel where we are usually talking about G.I. Joe, mainly classified, because that is the main thing I collect. But it's not the only thing I collect, so sometimes we'll take a look at that stuff too. However, as you know, this is a G.I. Joe video, and we are specifically talking about this big old box right here. Number 171, the G.I. Joe All Striker, All Weather and Environment Striker, and Crankcase. So we'll get another look at that box there in a minute. I might even throw some pictures of it in there. I like taking pictures of a box once in a while. I liked the All Striker when I was a kid. I played with that thing all the time. I liked Crankcase as a figure, as a character. And even if I didn't like Crankcase, I've got some Saw Vipers waiting on Crankcase anyway. So I've heard some mixed feelings about this set. People don't like certain aspects of it. I don't know. I hadn't had my hands on it yet. So we're about to find out if my opinion falls in line with some of the things I've heard. I can't imagine this thing not being cool though. I mean, it's a dune buggy. It's a fast strike dune buggy, man. So I don't know. Let's find out together. Well, I guess lucky thing for me that this is an all-weather vehicle, so I can play with it here in the grass because there's no sand here really to speak of. So, if you don't live near where there's the environment for the vehicle, you can't buy it. You can't get it, right? So as you can see, this is how everything comes packed in. Sticker sheet and instructions are on the top. It's a little beefier than I thought it was going to be, honestly. I was expecting it to be just a little bit smaller. I don't know why. Here's a look at Crankcase with some of his stuff. I think he should have more than this, I think. There's nothing on the back of him here. So get a good look at this guy. And I'm going to go ahead and get this thing out, and we'll get it all laid out, and then we'll start putting it together. They've actually triple teamed us here on the packaging. So you have flaps that are taped down. So you got 1, 2 things. And then you also have our favorite little plastic ties that are also taped down. I cut this one down here. So they do not want this thing going anywhere. That is for sure. So always keep your little plastic snips handy. I have no idea what's going to happen on the other side when I cut these things. So let's find out together. Well, I heard something hit the flow, took it down all the way to the flow. A little bit closer to accomplishing our goal of getting this thing out. All right, there we go. Finally got all that stuff out. Boy, it's a lot. So the little crinkly paper that we like so much, one of them is open, and then one of them you have to rip open. So I think this thing, the antenna was loose where it had slid out of one of those, one out of the open one in the box. So yeah, whatever. But so that's how it comes. I thought Crankcase had a whole lot more gear with him, and there's the rest of that. So all right, we'll lay everything out and see if we can't get this thing put together here. Well, that was a chore, so finally got all of those plastic ties cleaned up. Actually, they're probably not all cleaned up. Those things are like herpes every time you think you're rid of them. That's what I remember from health class. So we're going to take all of Crankcase's stuff, and we're going to just set it off to the side here. He's got a lot of stuff, so there it is. Oh, there's the coffee cup. I've been looking forward to the coffee cup, and I know we're going to get kind of covered up with coffee cups there in the next year. Oh, look, there's another one. There's another one. So I thought I was clear. All right, so let's see what else goes with Crankcase. There's some goggles because we're going to look at all of his stuff separate when we look at him. There's a couple little rockets here. I think these go in here. Yep, looks like those probably go in there. So, all right, got our instructions over here. We do get a nice sticker sheet over here. Sticker sheet's actually kind of interesting. I kind of like the sticker sheet. I may have to use the dog one. So you've got a snake and 3-part sticker sheet. You got a dog that looks like it is a, I don't know, four-part sheet, and then you have a shark also that is a 4-part sheet, and nothing on the back. So interesting if you want to kind of personalize your all striker. I do like that it has a lot of the tampos that people would probably already want um, on there from the start, right? So a lot of the stuff I think people would probably want, you don't have to worry about trying to get on there evenly. So let's check it out from the driver's side here. That's your big tires. We were all worried about the tires on this thing, those renders and all. I think it wound up coming out okay. So the front tires, like probably a little more than half the size of the rear tire. So we get our G.I. Joe Tampo here, and then I guess that's all on that side. So we'll flip it around here. Look at the front. Front of it looks pretty good. You do have your KC light, your headlights with your fog lights, your KC lights there. We do get a working winch, right? So when we first saw this thing, we didn't know that the winch actually worked until until we finally saw those the promo shots of him running the Viper down, which I still absolutely love. So working winch, and again, you can stick it off over here to the side like it was. Probably should have just left it over there. Roll bars on it look pretty good. I like the rock guards on the grill. I like the fact that this roll bar doesn't fall off of it like it does on my Stinger, just when I look at it the wrong way. And then over here, we'll take a look at the left side, or the passenger side. I think I said right side. Either way. So we looked at the driver side first. Now we'll look at the passenger side here on this thing. You got your G.I. Joe shooting star there, kind of blowing across the back from the front to the back to the front, and then you got your serial number for this vehicle, MK003 25726 We all got exactly the same designation. And I do need to point out that it does have the working suspension, right? So this would have been a fail if this didn't have working suspension. Independent suspension, I might add, as it ought to be, on the front. Don't get it on the back, just on the front, which is probably, that's the way it ought to be, I do think. And then if you look in there, you can actually see the shocks. So this thing's got 3 sets of shocks on it. I don't know if those are Bilstein. I'd hate to have to take this thing to Firestone. Good God. Let's look at the back. Again, on the back, a lot of the tampos I think that people would probably want on there already applied. Danger exhaust. This one is a latch. And then you got a couple reflectors here. And again, you got your brake lights, your tail lights covered by rock guards. Got a bumper or bump step here. It's got a couple pegs on it where if you want, you can have a couple guys riding on the back, because this is a fast attack vehicle thing, right? So you have guys hanging all off of this thing. There's pegs here, here. I mean, there's 2, 4, 6, 8-foot pegs. You can get guys hanging off of this thing. So pretty cool. And also the star there. I forgot to mention the star. And then on the back, on the top, you have warning intake cover. And this is the engine cover. So before we look at that, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior, at the cockpit on this thing, because it does have some good details on it. You do get the radio here. It's pretty cool. It's tuned to the 90. I can't read it. It'll be in the picture. But you get a radio with the EQ. Over here you have glove compartment. You got some air conditioning vents. I do love the GPS. That is awesome. I love the digital tack that it's got. You got all kind of readouts, and you don't have an actual wheel. You have the half wheel. You got the Batman wheel here, but I love the digital cluster on this thing. So you got your temperatures, you got your speed. So apparently we're doing 65. I think it's neat that this thing has GPS and an all digital instrument cluster in it, but it has the old school radio down here at the bottom. I guess that would be seems like that would be part of the GPS, but I guess you need the GPS while you fool with the radio. We do get our gear shifter here that does work. It's obviously a manual, so um, whenever I get this thing somewhere, it's not going to have much of a clutch left. Then we do have an e-brake that actually does work, so that's cool. It's a manual or a manual transmission, standard shift, and they did actually thought to include the working e-brake, which I do dig. And again, you do have your CB here. I do like that. I like that they threw the CB in here. I'm sure there's still communications done by CB on some of these things, but I mean, I like the fact, look how long the cord for the CB is, so you can have somebody over here on the side storage rail or even standing outside leaning in talking on this thing. That was a really smart detail, making the cord for this super long. But there's no paint or anything on some of the stuff. Like your dashboard doesn't have any paint. You got some other little various things over here that don't have any paint on them. Let's see what else. You got some other instruments down here underneath the wheel. And show that don't have any paint. So this is enough to distract you here, right? So it's 89.5. There, had to tilt it toward me to look at the radio. Um, so I can't complain much because these are cool, and I'm sure they're just stickers. They're smooth. I'm sure they're just stickers there, but either way, like this is a pretty neat setup. You do some good some good photography. And then not only do you have cup holders, you got two size cup holders. So one of them's going to be for like spare change, or you can throw all of the shell casings back in and just store them in the cup holders. And it does look like down in there there's going to be room to put just about any size figure that can get their legs and their feet together. And this engine cover does come off of here some way or another. I'm going to pull on it. I don't want to break it. Maybe I should actually look at the instructions and see. Not surprisingly, one last bit, it is not in the instructions at all on what to do with how to get the engine cover off, although it does kind of make sense. So if you look back here, it does have latch pointing down, and that's where I started pulling it, but you don't really get a lot of give on it. But over here where it fits on down here at this corner right here, I actually put the tip of my knife under it and popped it loose, and it fits on pretty snug. But that's how you take the cover off, is down here on these corners and pop it up, and it'll pop right off of there. I figured it was something simple like that, but I don't want to take a chance on snapping a tab when I don't have to. Now here's our engine. Get a nice look at the engine. Looks pretty decent. A lot of detail in that sculpt. You can see all the belts. None of it's painted. It is just a plain black. However, it only looks good from this angle. Now, this is something I saw Krusty Old Crow point out in his video. It's the only thing I've watched on the All Striker so far. Is so behind the engine, you get nothing. This is just a chunk of plastic, and then the actual engine that you see from the back is just a piece that's fastened onto it, which looks fine if you're looking at it all the time from that angle. But if you got somebody standing on the side of it or something with the engine cover off, So you can see right in there that it's just kind of a piece of black plastic. I'm sure you guys are aware that there are two other options out there for this vehicle right now. One a little more expensive than this, and one significantly more expensive than this. And from what I've heard, what I can tell, both of them are awesome. Of course, neither of them come with our crankcase here. We'll go ahead and start putting stuff on this thing and check it out. There are a few different looks that you can achieve with this. So I've got our third seat or top seat on there, and it just pegs right on. And I do have to kind of, at least I had to kind of wiggle it a little bit to get it all the way down on there. It sets kind of loose, but easily made to pop right on and off. And we do have our instructions that do actually tell us this part here. So you can actually have it like this if you want. Of course, you get no windshield with this, right? So I mean, we get we get goggles for crankcase. And for some reason, I keep wanting to call crankcase frostbite. So if I should happen to do that somewhere in this video, trust me, I know that it is really supposed to be crankcase. Then we have our roll bars. Have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different pegs around the roll bars to put on here for this. So pretty easy to line up, I feel like, when you get that put on. So I do recommend, when you get these holes lined up, I do recommend kind of putting your thumb and your finger down and kind of working each individual bar into the hole that it fits in. You don't want to be putting pressure on it up here because it's kind of bendy. So that's a good idea to do that. And then all of these posts that just fit in and snap down, these don't really seem to go all the way down. They're just kind of, these posts here, they're just kind of there for support. So then you have that section there, and then as indicated by our instructions here, you have the last piece, which is this roll bar for the back. And with that on there, here's the look that you're going to kind of get that person in that seat all nice and boxed in so they don't go flying out of there when this thing's hitting sand dunes. They're going to be bouncing around, although that is just about the right height for somebody to whack their head on these crossbars. I don't know if you ever hit your head on a tube steel roll bar, but I sure have, and it hurts. I like this look overall. I didn't think I was really going to like it. It looks pretty mean. It looks very capable. I'm pretty happy with it. And I know I forgot to mention that the tires are really squishy. Squishy tires. And they do say, what do they say here? Rugged track tires. Any terrain. Max inflation 40 psi. And then back here is the same. Seems like these would hold a little more than 40 pounds, but that's so you're go flying through the desert over them dunes and come down and land on a big rock or a viper that doesn't puncture your tire. These tires are very, very rubbery. This thing would be absolute ass going down the asphalt. Rolls pretty good. We didn't check that out yet, so let's go ahead and have no issue with that at all. And oh, we hooked the instructions. I probably couldn't have done that again if I tried. And it does turn a little bit. They turn together. So I like the fact that you can turn the wheels for different pictures, for different shots. And not only can you turn them, but again, each one has their own independent suspension. So now we've come to the portion that I have seen the most complaints about, and that is putting on some of the armaments for it. We do get this 50 cal machine gun again mounted on this peg here, this up and down vertical swivel here. And I've seen so many people talk about this thing fitting on here and not fitting on here, and I'm not having easy time getting this down on here. Of course, notice I do have my finger underneath there pushing up from the bottom, because I do feel like you put enough pressure on this, eventually you're going to snap either a roll bar or you're going to break some of this webbing loose. Like, it's not super thin, but this is not something you want to have to do a lot. So I've seen a lot of people online not being happy with this machine gun. So I've got it down about as flush as it's going to fit, I think. And then, of course, every time you move it, it's going to want to pop loose again. So I'm not real thrilled, one, that they gave us this weapon again, and two, this is an awful mounting system for it. It's pretty gummy, as you can see. Is the barrel on this thing spins? That's interesting. I guess it's in two pieces. It's not meant to be pulled loose. Huh. Interesting. Again, the tooling on it looks pretty good, but it's rather flimsy. I wonder if the butterfly seems to be glued in place, but maybe I shouldn't have messed with it. That didn't help. Now here's our ammo cans for it, and I have noticed that they have this thing set up so that the ammo probably will feed into the wrong side again. Looks like I'm looking at the instructions, because there it is right there. So it looks like on the top gun on the 50, they've got it where it's going to feed in. So it is on the passenger weapon that we get. We hadn't looked at it yet, but here it is. My mount is a little bit crooked for this thing. That's awful wiggly in there. So the way that this is set up to feed into the wrong side again. It should be feeding in to the left here, and the way you have to put it on here, it feeds into the right. I think Crow said that there was a fix for that, or at least a way you could wind the ammo around. So let's put this stuff on. We have our missile launchers that are going to go up here on the top, and these two pegs are right here. All right, that was probably way more trouble than it should have been putting some of this stuff on. All right, let's start. So over here, as per the way the instructions show, you have your toolkit and you have your ammo can. They each have holes in the bottom, and the racks here do accommodate them. They fit in there. They do snap in there pretty nicely. Again, I'd put my fingers on the bottom of those pegs, because this lattice work, like, it doesn't feel cheap, but I feel like if I put enough pressure on it enough times, that it is probably gonna break something down there. So again, it doesn't feel cheap. It just feels like repeatedly putting this stuff in and out are probably gonna loosen that plastic quite a bit. So up here on the top, we do have this 50 cal. The ammo can, same way. It's the same way as down here. You want to push down on it. This lattice work up here on top is not as sturdy as what is down here on the bottom in the green. So again, you want to definitely put your finger under it. I've already showed you that 50 cal, anytime you try to move it around, it is just going to pop off of there. It's a huge annoyance to get this plate to stay down that it's mounted to. So I've seen a lot of people that are just taking this off, and I will probably be one of those people. No problem with your rocket launcher tubes up here. They go right in. There's your rocket. I do like that. I think it looks cool. You do have your antennas here. They fit on right here, whipping back in the wind, in the desert air. Dual antennas whipping in the wind. Shout out Aaron Tippin. Then over here on this side, we run into some problems. So this is the side mount, the passenger weapon. All right, there's a lot of problems with this thing. So one, it is super flimsy. I mean, super flimsy. This is Marvel weapon level flimsy on this thing, and it doesn't really look all that great. There's not a lot of detail in it, but I mean, come on, let's talk about the main the main issue here. So again, you have an ammo crate mounts down here, and then you do have spare pegs. Go ahead here and then up here, and I think guys will fit on there. I know Crow went over that in his review. The peg holes are a little small, but I think they will hold guys in place. So if you want to take all this stuff off. Anyway, back to this awful ammo belt here. So again, they have it set up so it's going to feed into the wrong side for this weapon. And this is what you have to do to make it work. You have to, one, put a twist in the bullet belt and run it up underneath the roll bar through the cab and then back out feeding into the proper side. Or you can go around this way on the outside of the roll bar. However, doing that eats up a lot of the slack that you have in here. So, yes, I'm aware that I shouldn't be able to see any bullets, any ammo coming out the left side, but this thing keeps popping out. So I grabbed my angled forceps here and just grabbed it and pulled them through because that should hold it. And I did the same thing up here with the 50 cal. If I'm doing a picture or something, I'll push it back through a little bit. But again, same thing with this. I hate this 50. I hate the ammo boxes. I appreciate the sentiment. They look fine. The belts are flexible enough. It's just a terrible overall design. But there's your All Striker. Won't have this one pop down all the way. So I think I'm probably going to wind up taking this off. And I may take this off too. The other thing is it has the squeeze peg on this plate that pops down into the hole there to hold it. So that fits very tightly, and you're supposed to be able to swivel this, but you can't really swivel it. Like, it really doesn't turn. The only turn that you get really is bending the weapon and the swivel down here where you're supposed to be able to angle up or down. That's gummy as well. So all you really wind up doing is just twisting that. So this will, I mean, once I can get it straightened up, I'll probably have this on here just because I don't like the hole that it leaves there. But it's a terrible weapon. I mean, maybe somebody can engineer 3D print something this size to fit a different weapon that we've got on there, or just print one for this. That would be cool. Although I don't know about squeezing that peg together on a 3D print to get it popped through that hole. I don't know if the print would hold up. But overall, I do like it. It looks pretty mean, and if you're just doing it for pictures or something, setting it up, like, I like the way that it looks. I didn't have a lot of problem with the roll cage snapping apart, other than trying to push this stuff down, pushing up from the bottom here. I did pop them loose a little bit, but no issues with kind of getting them back seated. So they're all in there pretty well, I think. So overall, I do like this. I've got my gripes with it, but they were gripes that I'm pretty sure I already knew were going to be gripes. Looking at you, weapons. Other than that, man, All Striker is pretty solid. It looks the part. So let's go ahead and check our main man, Crankcase, out. Now, as usual, we're going to look at Crankcase's accessories first. Now, look, I've heard a lot of people uh, have complaints about Crankcase, saying his torso is really loose. I don't know if it's his waist at the pants or his ratchet, but we're gonna look at it and find out. It has come with the motocross helmet, which I thought was a little weird. Um, it looks pretty good though. Nice, like a gray. Has this green, the face shield, eye protector, whatever. A little bit of silver here on the edges of it. Um, is anybody going to use this? Like, I mean, it's all right. Just a nice inclusion, but I hope I didn't pay extra for this. I don't love it, but there it is. I thought it was a good idea at first when I saw it. I'm like, hey, he's in a dune buggy. Like, he's not going to wear this. Then he does come with his regular helmet. We've seen this one before, I believe. It's kind of a desert sand color, grayish desert sand. I'm going to look at it off camera here because it's kind of hard to tell with this light right on it. I believe it's more of a sand. And then you do have your dark brown chin straps here. Looks pretty good. No paint on the helmet, but it does have some detail on it. You got some padding there on the sides and then going down, and then the mechanism here to tighten it all up. Looks okay. No problems with that. Let's check out the coffee cup because I have been looking forward to the coffee cup. Got the thermos. It's like an Aladdin thermos or a Stanley or whatever. Look at the handle on this thing. It's got a crazy handle. But I get, some of these guys, a lot of these coffee cups I've used in photography and stuff, the handle is too close to the cup. So this probably is exactly what they need. Got the nice lid on the top there, the nice open close valve on the top. And they even put the vent port in it, so when you take a big drink, it's getting some air in at the top. Doesn't back up, slosh all over you. Neat. Gray Yojo on it, got the star. I do like this. I know people are like, yeah, your coffee cups stupid. No, they're not. I've had like 19 cups of coffee today myself. Get his pistol. He's got a sidearm. We did kind of get gypped out of him getting his rifle because Crankcase came with a rifle that was a pretty nice accessory. I always liked his weapon. So you get this. It's like probably a SIG or I don't know what. Looks like it's got a laser on the bottom of it, port for blast effects. I don't even remember at this point if we've seen this particular pistol, but we haven't seen this one a lot, I don't think. Either way, pretty decent looking pistol, no paint on it. It does have a knife that has still has tape stuck to it there. That off of there, man. Maybe the tape spreading like the twist tie, the plastic ties. They did paint the blade, so yay, nice silver metallic. And it's not as blunt as a lot of the knives are, so that's good too. A little bit of paint, like, nick in it right there. But I don't know, I might have done that getting it out. Who knows? Pretty decent looking hilt, little leather wrapped looking hilt there. Not a bad looking knife overall, nothing too fancy. We get our binos that he came with. Well, they gave him these, but they didn't tool as a rifle. So I think these are the same ones Retro Duke come with, if I'm not mistaken. Got these nice bend in them so he can look down underneath a storm drain culvert or something if he needs to. Maybe spot Pennywise in there. Solid black. Straps relatively flexy. No paint on it. Nice if they hit the tips of the lenses there, but they didn't. Okay, I mean, it really isn't anybody going to use these. Got his goggles. I dig the goggles. Nice silver. The strap going around the back looks like that's going to be a brown. It's really hard to tell sometimes under the light. But the clear, I do like that we're getting clear lenses on stuff now. Technology's sure come a long way. You can see the tightening straps there all along for the goggles. I do like the goggles. This dude does need goggles. Comes with a couple of different bandanas, which I also like. We saw this one. I think this is the same one Monkey Wrench has. I believe this one is in green. Let me know in the comments because Monkey Wrench is behind me and I don't feel like moving to check. But I think this is his in a nice matching green. Kind of matches the All Striker a bit there. Then we do get the bandana down, scarf in this manner. Is this Xandar's? Now I'm thinking Xandar had this, but again, I don't want to turn around. but not bad. Got the wrinkles in it where it's folded down. I think that looks pretty sweet. No issues with that at all. Same color green. You actually see a little bit of texture in there. Helps if I put it on camera, huh? Sorry about that. You actually see a little bit of texture in there. Either way, those are pretty sweet. All right, let's check out the man himself and see, is he or is he not floppy? Not, well, we'll say not too awful bad, but mine's got a case of the loose torsos too, I think. Check out his face. They managed to get this guy actually looking quite a bit like the Real American Hero version. I think his hair is a little bit darker here, but that's okay. He gave him his stash. Got to have the mustache. I think it is probably illegal to drive a dune buggy type vehicle if you don't have a mustache, unless you're a chick, and then in certain states, probably still then. Got his overlay here, kit on there. He's got his green shirt, got the tan uniform with the open collar. No chest hair. They didn't go the shipwreck route with him. I do like the dark green underneath, dark green overshirt, and then he's got his tack vest. Not really a plate carrier or anything. It's just more like web gear. A little pouch here. Got a pouch here, probably for a magazine. Then a smaller one up on the top. They do give him another radio here, so I guess maybe this cord runs down into the pouch and that's battery pack. I don't know. What do you think's in there? Non-removable, so it's not like Laws or anything. Pretty good. You can see the ribbing on the shirt underneath, which I do believe the original Crankcase had. I've got him still, but he's packed up. Down into the belt buckle, I'm digging the gold belt buckle. Nice riveted in gold. Looks like it's got an eagle on it. Another pouch over here, and I like that the looping matches the one on his chest. So just he got those at the same store. And over here on the left sleeve, you got the Joe Star, which we're starting to see that quite a bit. Turn him over on the back. Got these red highlights up here with some snaps on it. And the harness goes down into the back. And I always say that this looks like it's some kind of armor in the back with this kind of ribbed piece, but I think that's just like expanding web gear. I don't think that's meant to be any kind of armor. And the belt matches. Got your loops there. Actually looks like this is leather and then maybe going into some cloth covered on the side, and that's what's riveted in. So either way, it looks pretty good. Pants, I'm pretty sure we've seen these before. Nothing new. Couple of rear pockets, got the webbing on the butt, which is cool because that means he's, as much as this guy's riding, he's driving a lot, so he's got some extra padding in the seat of his pants. I'm guessing that's what that's meant to be, and that's, if it is, again, like the whole diaper is that way, maybe to give more flex, more cushioning. I like that. That's smart if that's what that is. If not, I guess it was just lucky. And we got his pistol holster here. Again, got the little snap. Maybe that one will stay shut. That one actually looks like it's got a little bit of promise with staying closed. Open at the bottom. We'll go down. Got his knife sheath on the bottom there by his boots. Boots just brown going up. Pants are overneath. There's that word again. Somebody please tell me if that's a real word because I use it a lot. Again, more give down here at the pants. Maybe made for some walking through some sand or something. Keep the shins from wearing out. Hell, I don't know. We do have all of your standard Joe articulation. You got your boot swivel that is tucked in there at the bottom of the pants. Ankle rockers that actually feel like they're pretty decent. Thigh swivel. pinless double knees that are that bottom, man, that one's catching right there. This one's not that way. See that? That's bottom section is. Let's see what that looks like. That's kind of eating into the. All right, that broke. That broke. Well, that's always great. No issues at all on this side. But that one broke, so that's the same issue that I had with my leather neck. Now, I did put some pressure on it there, but I didn't put enough on it to snap that plastic like that. Man, I'm not thrilled about that. So my first leather neck that I had the same thing. Oh, it broke way worse. Maybe that's not. You can see down in there, though, it definitely ate part of that up. I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue. Actually, man, that fly is back. I need to go get my bug assault. All right, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm going to grab my leather neck because I have it right over here, and we'll look at the difference in these. All right, I had that figure pretty close by. Easier to get than Xandar. So there's what happened on the leather neck right there. And then there is what happened on my crankcase right there. So it's the same issue, but it's much worse on leatherneck. So this leatherneck, actually, this leg was gonna come loose eventually, the bottom part of that leg. I don't know if I feel like this one will. It's just grinding this plastic down here off. Why did this fly come in here every time I try to do a review? All right, let's get on with it. So overall, not bad. He's a good looking figure. Look at that, man. Stands pretty good right out of the box. That's always a good time. Butterflies are there, but again, you just don't get much out of these classified butterflies. They can go back pretty good, but forward, you don't get a lot. His overlay's kind of catching it, and you cannot take this off, at least not without cutting it. Let's check out elbows. Elbows are good. No issues there. All right. So I think Crankcase looks pretty good. Mine, his torso is loose. Like, I don't like all of that, seeing all of that gap right there. You can actually see where the figure's put together. That is way too much. And then he has a ratchet as well. The ratchet's not loose. He actually get quite a bit of bend out of the ratchet for this guy. But I know, I think it was Crow that mentioned he's going to be setting like this most of the time. So he may actually be designed this way, to make sure that he's got plenty of room to get into a driving pose. So I'm thinking this is actually intentional on this figure. I don't think this is a design issue with Crankcase. None of the more recent Joes that I've gotten have had that issue, and it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to really stop him from standing up. But he is pretty wiggly there. So I know I saw somebody online say that they were going to try to get a replacement crankcase. I have a feeling they are all going to be like that to a degree. Got his pistol in his hand there, no issues really once you wiggle that finger around. His fingers are relatively pliable. This fly is going to drive me crazy, y'all. He does have a watch that I don't feel like it's not spinning, so I don't think it's removable. And then, nope, the little band, he does have an armband. He has vertical swivel on his hands. And so this is not removable. The watch will not come off, but this little band will here. So there he is with his pistol. No real issues there. Let's just see how he looks with the motocross helmet on. It seems like it's pretty pliable. Shouldn't have any issues having to take his head off or anything to put that helmet on. So there's the motocross helmet. I don't care for that look. What are you guys thinking about that? I'm not a big fan of the motocross helmet look. Again, I mean, I'm glad they gave us extra stuff, but I'm not a fan of that helmet. Here we get him holding his knife, and I did just notice that his left hand has horizontal swivel, but his right hand has vertical. So his hands are, I don't know if they're intentionally mismatched or not, but I found that odd. I don't remember running across one yet that had that. He is looking through the binocs there with his helmet on. And the strap does hit the strap on the helmet and have a tendency to pop it off. His helmet fits really loose. Man, look at those just sexy, rosy, wind burnt cheeks there. I haven't really looked at his face up close, so he looks good. He's got the nice blush. Definitely does look like windburn. And his eyes are nice and centered. So we're way past time. We should have talked about that already. But, and I'm pretty sure that that helmet is loose for that reason right there. So there he is with the helmet and the goggles and the scarf pulled up. I actually kind of like that look. And now I realize how much the helmet does not really match anything else on him. It is more of a gray than a desert tan, I think. I'd say mostly gray. His pants are more of a desert tan, so I guess we could have just looked at it that way. Told you it's hard to see in this light. Got his knife in his sheath down there, and it does want to fall, but it will go back up and stay. So there's the goggles. I didn't really have any trouble getting the goggles on, using my fingernails to push them down, and I took his head off to put the scarf on, uh, and then just kind of worked it up. See, I don't have it, there behind his ears or anything. I just got it wrapped around his neck at the back. So that's a pretty good look. I'm digging that look right there. And here is Crankcase when he gets off work and he is headed to the golf course. So I know this is a look that a lot of people didn't care for, or not really a look, but an accessory, and that's the visor. I love the visor. I think this is great, and I like the off-road. So here he is having a cup of Yo Joe Joe's coffee in there, or maybe that's whiskey. I mean, if this thing over here is parked for the night and he's done, and he's heading back to the base, I still think he looks like he's getting ready to go play 18 holes myself. But I like the visor, really pliable. Green on the front and the bill with the off-road with the gray strap, and hey, that actually matches all of his helmets and not another thing on him. But I like the visor. I want to see more visors. I don't know how many Joes um, we could possibly have that could use visors, but I do like it. So when he's not in the All Striker, I'm probably gonna have him rocking the visor and the bandana there. I like that look. There's Crankcase, man. I'm pretty impressed with him. I'm not real happy about the loose torso, but again, I don't feel like he's gonna come apart or anything. I think it's meant for him to be able to set, because a lot of these figures, when you set them down, you try to put them in one of the vehicles, you don't get enough play back here, or their overlay actually stops them from being able to get into a good sitting pose like this. So I think this is intentional because the figure doesn't feel like it's made poorly. And if you look to get him seated like that, he's going to be straight in the seat, and his chest web gear or whatever, it stops right where it should for him to get in that position. I think he's done that way on purpose, you guys. So the closer I look at this, I don't really think that it's broken so much as this leg, um, just the plastic on it is just hitting, and it sheared off part of the plastic. I don't really feel like this is broken. It doesn't look like this center tab where the knee's made is broken in there to me. So I may check with Hasbro and see if they can send me another one, just because it's going to bother me. But I don't think it's actually broken. It's not really affecting that knee, whereas on the leather neck, eventually that bottom part of that knee was going to come apart. So here you have it, Crankcase and the All Striker. We got to give this set a rating. There's some things that I really like about this set, some things that I really don't like about it. But if you're into Joe vehicles, if you're doing Joe vehicles, some of these guys you're gonna have to take. You're gonna have to take the good, and you're gonna have to take the bad with some of these Joe vehicles. They I don't know. They're gonna be hit or miss. I like the All Striker. I don't like the weapons on it, but I can take those off and strip it down. I like that it is modular. I can do quite a few things with it. Let's just check and see. So it will kind of hold a guy in place, but that peg is too small. So wanted to check that while we were looking at that. All right, so back to this. So I'm going to give the All Striker a 4 for the whole set. Uh, I would say probably four each for each of the individual pieces. All Striker's good. It's not great, but it's so modular. I just don't like the fact that if I take the weapons off of it, like I don't have any weapons on it other than the rockets. But if I take the guns off, I have no guns on it, and then it's just solely going to be a insert exfil vehicle completely with no way to defend itself other than two rockets. Crankcase himself, there's not a lot to him. I think he looks great, but he's a driver. This is his accessory. He doesn't need a lot of stuff, yet they give you a lot of stuff. So what he lacks in deco and everything else, there's that fly. What he lacks in deco, he makes up for in ways to kit him out and make him look different. And he looks pretty faithful to the original Crankcase. So I would also give Crankcase a 4. Now, on any other figure, I'm really going to count off for this. But again, I think he's supposed to be that way. And that does stay snapped on his pistol holder, by the way, on his holster. So I'm gonna say a 4 for Crankcase, and then a 4 for the All Striker. I do recommend picking this up, guys, if you're doing the vehicles. So it's fun. It's like the Vamp. So you're not going to take it out and roll it down a hill like this without losing stuff. You can take it out and you can play with it, but this gun is going to pop off. These may come off. You know, so take that for what you will. This has been a long review, but some of these are long. Some of these vehicles, these guys with a lot of accessories, it's just the way it works. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll grab some more pictures and throw on the end here. Hit that like, that thumbs up, that subscribe, all that good stuff if you hadn't already and you liked what you saw. And I will see you next time on 3 Star Draw.